Hello everybody, and good morning to all of you, or good evening, depends on when you're watching this video. First of all, I wanted to give a shout out to all of my new subscribers and say thank you so much for joining our team. And second of all, I wanted all of you to add down in the comments what you would be interested in for a 50 subscriber special. If you have any interest in a specific video or a topic or just any sort of fun idea, I guess, because we are very close to hitting 50, and that's a big number for me. 50 is a lot of people. I also wanted to apologize because this video is coming out a lot later than I anticipated. I have a few reasons for that. My phone exploded. Not really, but basically. So I lost a lot of storage data of me making one of my cosplays, which is actually the one you see me wearing right now. And also, we just couldn't record because that was our recording day. I'm trying to record once a week, at least, so that you guys can I can make sure you guys know I have a consistent schedule. Sorry for this taking so long. I know this topic is a little bit out of date already, but it's here now, and I really hope you enjoyed the video. I just dropped one of my sticky notes. So, today we're going to be talking about Poppy Playtime. Why is it so infamous, almost? It's a really popular franchise, but it seems to have a really split base of people who know about it. I'm not even going to say fan base, because like half of them are like, I love this game, but then the other half are like, this is trash. And I'm a half-half person on it, because I see why people like it, but I also see the reasons that it's not liked, because it has a lot of both factors. So I'm gonna give you a brief on the character designs and such, because that's what I'm efficient with, and I'm going to give you a brief on each one of them, and then I'm gonna explain why everything works, why it doesn't work. I forgot my markers. Bum, bum, bum. I have my markers now. So, Chapter 1. I want to organize them into different chapter groups so that you can see where everybody falls on the falls in the game. No, I dropped him. Why do these sticky notes keep falling? Probably because they're old. Because, again, I was meant to record this video like forever ago. The first chapter consists of 2 characters. I don't know if you can see that. It's not going well so far. 2 characters were introduced to us in the first chapter. Mechanic-wise and interest-wise, this was a pretty okay first chapter. Most people enjoyed this chapter when they saw it at first, or just thought it was like, oh, okay, I guess it's a new indie horror game. Or not indie, I forget if it is indie or not. But they were kind of just like, okay, I guess like it's a new like mascot horror thing. Huggy Wuggy's design is pretty okay. I see it being marketed as like a toddler toy. He personally gives me resemblance to Elmo, which, you know what, that's fair. I like how he doesn't look exactly like a ripoff of Elmo, but he kind of gives me that vibe. I know he's probably not Elmo, but he looks silly, he's cute. Yeah, I don't see any overall problems with Huggy Wuggy's design. However, I don't like Poppy. I'm going to explain a lot of why I don't like her personality in later chapters, because she shows up a lot, which is unfortunate because I do not like her. Her design is kind of just bad, because the company takes place around the 70s, 80s. She looks like a Victorian doll. I don't know why they would market her like that. She looks sickly. In all the commercials, she looks sickly. She completely does not match the overall aesthetic of every single other character. She doesn't even look like a princess. She just looks like a weird Wendy's mascot. She looks like the Wendy's mascot. Every time I see her, I can only think of Wendy's, like the restaurant, and I've been there like twice. So, I don't like her design. I think she looks sickly, she looks creepy, she doesn't look appealing at all to anybody, and she just is overall, like, I dislike her. Most people dislike her. So, second chapter is big chapter. A lot of people lost their minds over this chapter. Which, like, sorry. Like, the main antagonist of this chapter is Mommy Longlegs. I preferred Huggy because, first of all, Mommy Longlegs talking kind of like, okay, I can get behind her talking, but she's just not a very interesting character. I understand what doll she was based off of. She's based off one of those noodly arm Polly-looking dolls, but her appeal to children is so... It feels like she was just marketed off of, like, a concept, and none of the development team actually ran through, like, if people actually would play with this doll. Because the doll that she's originally based off of was for kids, like, 6 to 10 years old. But their marketing inside the game is for 3 to 6 years old. Because once you hit that 6 to 10 years area, little girls, they kind of just go like, oh yeah, I don't want to be mom. I don't want to play with the mom dolls. I want to be the cool older sister / babysitter / just friend, right? You know, as a kid, when I played with Barbie dolls, I was always the cooler friend, the cool old sister, teenager person, you know, because that's what was attractive to my child mind and most children minds of that time. I'd understand if she was a 60s era doll, or heck, probably a little bit earlier than that, but at the time, Barbie dolls were her main competitor, and then also Strawberry Shortcake a little bit earlier. So I seriously suggest that the team just uses the older sister / teenager idea, because that's just what would sell better and would be more popular and would be more interesting. Just change your name to, like, Molly Longlegs or Polly Longlegs, I don't know. Just something silly, something whimsical, something cool. Then we get Bonzo Bunny. I'm gonna be honest, Bonzo never stood out to me. It's like, oh, okay, it's a clown. Where else in this game are clowns? Like, it's the same problem I have a little bit with Five Nights at Freddy's, because they just kind of introduced Circus Baby, and she's like the only clown. The only reason I feel like they get away with it is because they also have Ennard and Ballora, and now with Mimic, I forget what the entire name is, but that works because there's more clowns. You know, it's a reoccurring theme. It's not just one single clown in the entire thing. You know, their entire vibe, I guess, for the entire game is like toys, but then also mad science, and then you add clowns in on top of that, and it's like, where do the clowns come in? There's just one clown. Like, keep it simple, you know? It would have been better if they just kind of used something else, I guess. Anyways, he's not something I have a big problem with. I love PJ Pugapillar. I don't even like pugs in real life, but I think PJ Pugapillar, I love him. I don't know if it's how his design is both cute, commercial, and also very unsettling. I feel like his mechanics worked really well as well and were really unsettling. His fight scene was very, well, I'm not really gonna say fight, it's more like a very slow chase. But the fact that he is so slow and his eyes are so hollow, it makes him so much more terrifying. Because usually your brain is like, oh, well, this thing is fast and it's spooky and it's scaring me. But Pugapillar, he's slow and he's calm, but he's getting so much closer and he's getting way too fast. And I think Pugapillar adds a lot to the game. if I had to have a plush of any character in the game, it would probably be either him or Mommy. Not Mommy, Kissy, sorry. I don't remember where Kissy was introduced. I wrote it somewhere, but I'm gonna put her in chapter 2 because I believe that's where she comes in. Kissy Missy is probably one of my favorite characters, just because she is such a simple character design. She takes what Huggy Wuggy gives to the game, which is good, and then just makes it better, because she is the Amy to the Sonic, she's the Minnie to the Mickey. She just works so well, and she feels so much like a classic. She fits so well into a story that's not very good that she makes it feel like she is kind of, she doesn't even like feel better than the rest of the characters. She just feels like she fits in very well, and I fully respect that. Whoever designed Kissy Missy, good on you. She feels very realistic. Her personality is pretty cute and sweet, and I just like how she's introduced. I like how she acts. I like how she looks. She feels like a very well thought out character. Then we have chapter 3. Chapter 3 was the most well received out of all the chapters, and this is for a good reason. First of all, I firmly believe this is the best chapter, because you're introduced to Catnap, who is, out of all of them, probably the scariest. He's just weirdly, like, he's cute. Don't get me wrong, he's cute. Like, at least in the plush form, that's pretty cute. Most kids would probably buy that, but the parents would probably be like, that's creepy as heck, right? And I feel like that's a really good thing to get along with. In fact, all the smiling critters are pretty good. However, I'm later going to complain about the nightmare critters. Have patience with me. So then you got his fight scene is really good. The concept of why the toy was like canceled and stuff, that's genius. I like that a lot. You have Dog Day as well, who is kind of a good guy and kind of a bad guy at the same time. I feel like Dog Day, his introduction really changed what Poppy Playtime could have been. And I feel like another YouTuber who really well explains it is Pastra. I might put a link in the video if I can do that. But basically, it's horrifying. What happened to him is horrifying. However, Chapter 3 does also have its problems, which I dislike. First of all, Chapter 3 brings up a lot of cult stuff, which has never been mentioned before, and it's never mentioned again. I dislike that because it doesn't tie in with anything. I dislike when elements are in a video game and don't tie in. The reason that Bendy and the Ink Machine can get away with having a cultist is because the entire theme of the game is heaven and hell, and cartoons hell, basically. That's why Sammy Lawrence is okay as a character in the rest of the game, because it ties in. And then, further on that note, I would like to establish, I don't even know if you can see that very well, I very much dislike Miss Delight. Her character feels not only unnecessary, but just like very repetitive. A lot of her elements are almost exactly the same as Mommy Longlegs, and I feel like giving one of the characters just both of those attributes would have worked so much better. They're both supposed to be caretakers. They're both killed in a very similar fashion. They both have similar mechanics, except Mommy can stretch, and then, for some reason, Miss Delight is like a weeping angel, which I feel like you could have just used for another character like Pug-a-Pillar, because Pug-a-Pillar is similar in that matter. But it just feels like Miss Delight doesn't belong. And then furthermore, they add on to the unnecessary details of she just has cannibalism. Cannibalism has never been brought up in the games, and it never will be again. In Chapter 4, it would have been really easy to bring up cannibalism because all the toys were starving, but they don't. Because why would they? And on top of that, I don't understand why Playtime Co. actually has a school to begin with, because it's not like they care about the kids. They're experimenting on them. Put yourself in a business person's point of view. Why would you have a school? That's just hiring extra people. Oh wait, they're not people. They're toys, except they're not toys because they have no merchandise, no anything. They're just people, I guess, that looks like toys. Why would they waste those extra materials in just turning them into toys? Why would they become cannibals? Why would they anything? Why are the teachers different from any of the other toys in the Hour of Joy? It just adds so many unnecessary questions, and it singles them out, but I know that Miss Delight is never going to be brought up again, ever, just like almost all the characters. It's just, she feels like a giant vomit of ideas. I dislike her greatly. Okay, now for the big chapter. And this one's the newest chapter. And it's the one who stirred up the most controversy. Chapter 4 consists of Yarnaby, whose design I like. Yarnaby seems like one of those toys where you'd have them and they have like a lot of hair, and they'd come with like a cute little plastic hairbrush, and you'd brush them and you'd like braid their hair and whatever, and like cut it all off, and then like you'd find it in your basement a few years later with like scribbles all over it, and like half of it is shaved, half of it is like burnt off, you know, all that stuff. That's what kind of toy I'm assuming this is, and that's what it feels like. So you know what, I like Yarnaby. I think he's a cute idea, he's a cute character, and he seems to be a fan favorite for a reason. Then we have Pianosaurus. Justice for Pianosaurus is something I hear quite a lot, and for good reason. Pianosaurus just kind of appears for not even like 20 seconds. He just immediately gets killed. And it's very unfortunate because I saw a lot of potential when Pianosaurus was introduced. I was watching a playthrough, and Pianosaurus just starts charging forwards in the darkness. It's so well executed, and then he just dies. So, another video game, yes, I'm gonna continue bringing up Bendy and the Ink Machine, that does it really well, is Bendy and the Ink Machine with the scene with the projectionist. The projectionist is also taken out by a bigger, more dangerous villain, Bendy, in the end of his second fight scene. But you still have to fight the projectionist, and the projectionist is still horrifying. You have to go through that whole maze and collect all the ink hearts and turn all the levers, and you're still chased by him, and it's still terrifying. And then you get saved at the end when it feels like the projectionist knows where you are, even when you're in the safe place, right? In this game, you think you're gonna do something, some puzzle, something to fix anything, but you don't. You just go through, you know? You just, there's nothing, you know? Doughy just comes along and kills him and then, like, laughs about it. Doughy, I like his character design, but I have one main problem with it. I think his character design is cute. I think his voice acting is funny. You know, he's a pretty overall okay character. He's not bad. He's not that awesome either, but I think he's cute. He's pretty, like, I'd buy him if I was a kid, I think, because I love the idea of, like, toys made out of clay. That's what I always liked when I was a kid. But for some reason, Doughy, like, his backstory doesn't make sense, because, yes, he's three different people, right? But 2 of them were added in purposefully into the experiment. So time, effort, and resources were used to get these people in, right? And then on top of that, that happened with all the other characters. They were carefully and purposefully put into these toy bodies, and a lot of them didn't make it, and a lot of them didn't work out, as you can hear in the voice logs. But Doughy just 2 of the kids were put in purposefully. One just falls in. You know what? Why not? Just one of these kids is like, taking a tour of the factory. There's a giant open pool of, child experiments, clearly. And the kid just falls in. And then magically he's part of the experiment now? That's not how it would work. The kid could just die. It's that simple. He most likely would die. And I understand that ranting about how realistic a video game is about turning children into living giant toys is, unrealistic. But, that's like if William Afton from Five Nights at Freddy's, I want to bring up Bendy again, but I shouldn't. If William Afton was trying to possess all the animatronics, and then all of a sudden an animatronic just possessed itself, I guess, but he had to, to make the animatronics possessed, he had to, carefully do all these different things. No. It just happened magically one time compared to it happening with, such difficulty the entire time. At that point, why even do anything? If the kids are just gonna fall in and magically become part of the experiment, that's not how it should work. This kid is mashed potato. Why is he how'd that kid become a part of it? It makes no sense. Anyways, I'm gonna go into the next character. I don't have enough sticky notes for all the characters, so I'm probably gonna just draw the rest of them. There's so many. Why are there so many? There's the doctor. Nothing I can really say about the doctor would do him enough anti-justice. I don't know. I dislike him. His design is boring. He's just there was this whole phase with TV head cosplays on the internet and stuff, and the weird core genre or whatever. And I liked that genre, but it was really repetitive, and that's my only problem with it. A lot of the stuff was just the same. It's eyes, wings, the back rooms, and then just TV faces. And that's what he is. He's just a TV face, and he feels extremely unoriginal. He feels boring. He feels out of place. I guess, his voice lugs were fine, but I thought he was going to be a larger enemy. I thought he was going to be, the big bad evil, He's not. He's just there. He lacks so much that I just don't even want to talk about him. And then you have the nightmare critters. I don't feel like drawing all of them because there's so many of them. I'm gonna draw the sheep guy because the sheep's the really famous one, I guess, out of all of them, if you can even call him that. The nightmare critters, it's what are you even doing, guys? What are you even doing? Okay. Give me 1 second, okay? This is a stuffed animal. It is marketed towards children. Children enjoy stuffed animals. When children are children, they lack money to buy stuffed animals and therefore must rely on their parents to buy stuffed animals for them. So tell me why the Nightmare Critters, which are a spin-off of the Smiling Critters, which were discontinued, Smiling Critters are most likely grouped from 3 to 8 years old. 3 to 10 maybe. Tell me why you're marketing a toy meant for children, so their parents have to buy it. Why is their entire slogan, "We're bad, we're evil, and we're so, troublemakers"? Who does that? It's dumb. It's just dumb. Nobody's gonna buy that if that's your slogan. Not even teenagers would buy that because it's cringe. I understand if you're gonna market like a toy, like Furbies right now, they have Hot Topic merch because they're like creepy and whatever, so like a lot of goth people find them interesting, right? That works because they're actually creepy. The Furbies don't say they're creepy, they just sell to older audiences and have darker designs. On the other hand, Playtime Co. decided, yeah, we're so evil, is a great method to get parents to buy good role model toys for their children. No, it's not realistic. Nobody's going to buy a toy for their child who has an actual skull on it unless it's like a Monster High doll and the child is like 12. It's just bad marketing. It's just bad character design. On top of that, like, it's just, I don't know what their thoughts were when making these characters. It feels very thoughtless. It feels like they just put them in. I don't understand why they didn't just, make more smiling critters and just, have them be evil, because the smiling critters are already evil. I see no purpose for them to exist in the game. You could literally just give smiling critters, but like with superpowers, and you could even call them the Nightmare Critters still. Having a character, not even a character, a toy being sold to children called the Nightmare Critters, nobody's gonna buy that. You really think a kid would buy a toy that's specifically meant to give them nightmares? No, that's not how children work. That's not how parents work. Have these people had parents? Please tell me somebody on their team has parents. Because, like, who would buy these? Genuinely. And then on top of that, every single person who I have seen a playthrough of or has played the game, I personally have not because I don't want to. Every single person who has played it has mentioned that the battles with the Nightmare Critters aren't even scary, they're just annoying. When people are audibly just like disinterested and just annoyed to play your game, that's when you got a problem. So, what have we learned from today? Chapter 1 was okay. Chapter 2 and Chapter 4 seem to be a main problem. Chapter 3 is fine. What is the problems with all of these together, though? A, it's very overcrowded. B, the characters who need more development don't have enough development. C, right, getting my finger hold out. C, it touches often on themes that are never brought up again. And D, I hate Poppy so much, with a passion. This little midget, oh my gosh. She is so evil. You know what she does constantly within the game? She believes she's the greater good, and then she just makes you blow up a ton of children. And then you're supposed to be surprised that Doey attacks you. It is the most obvious twist villain I've ever seen. Ever. Poppy is going to be the most obvious twist villain ever. I understand what they're trying to do. I think what they're trying to do is like, yeah, but is it like the greater good or like blah, blah, blah? No. She's dumb. She's killing children. She's killing a ton of children. She is no better. She is no better than literally all of the other, like, villains that you guys keep bringing up in the chapters. Not you guys, but, like, that she keeps bringing up in the chapters. Like, the doctor is evil for conducting all these experiments. You blew them up. You blew up the children. You can't be talking. You have no legs to stand on. Well, I mean, she does, but she mostly stands on Kissy Missy here. I love Kissy. Kissy does a good job. She's a good guy, I think. But Poppy's just so visibly evil that it's like kind of just depressing, I guess. So there's also ways you could just fix the game, I guess. First of all, get rid of characters like Miss Delight who have no purpose in the story. Same thing with Bonzo Bunny. You can replace them, I guess, with other things, or just things that, like, notice how I didn't even mention the tiny Huggies? I feel like that would have been a better way to do mini games, right? In this chapter, the tiny huggies in chapter 2 are pretty good, because they're so unnoticeable, so they don't have any purpose to the story. Bonzo doesn't have any purpose to the story either, but he stands out like he's supposed to. Then on top of that, the doctor, just give all of his lines to the actual BBEG, the bad guy, because notice something interesting. Nowhere in here have I brought up the actual bad guy, the villain. Notice that. Why is that? Because he's nowhere to be found. He just like kind of appears and like sticks his hands out everywhere every now and then. And it's very annoying because it's like, you don't even know who you're fighting. You don't know anything about him. He's just supposed to be this big mysterious entity who just keeps collecting the toys. So it's supposed to be a short video. In Bendy and the Ink Machine, they do it really well. You barely ever fight Bendy. You just fight him in the last chapter, right? But every now and then you'll see him. He just appears, right? On the level with Alice Angel. He's there as soon as you destroy all of his cutouts, you know? In the first chapter, he appears and he puts his hands out through the thing. He has an introduction. You know, you can't have a mascot horror game or just really, I feel like any horror game or game in general, you can't have your big bad host hide behind a wall the whole game. You know? He has to give himself an introduction. He has to welcome his guests into his home. Like, what would it be like, you know, if your big bad evil guy, you don't know anything about him? Unless they're a twist villain, which it is, because it's going to be Poppy. Oh, I hate Poppy so much. And another way you could do it, if the big bad evil guy's going to be Poppy, because I guarantee it is, Poppy's probably going to end up being the big creepy spider looking guy. When you have somebody who's clearly getting evil, or who clearly is evil, you have two ways to do it. You either A, make their evil a very slow build up over time. So in chapter 4, she should not be blowing up children. That's very evil. Or 2, you go the Alice Angel route where she's giving off very evil vibes, but in order, she has power over you. And then she's kind of from the shadows, because Poppy right here, guaranteed almost every single player, as soon as she tells them to blow up the children, they would drop kick her. There's nothing Poppy could do about it. She would get drop kicked. She's a bad villain because she's very drop kickable. She's very obviously evil. And if she isn't a villain, oh my god, she sucks. If she isn't a villain, she's definitely a villain. If the game tries to be like, oh, she did it all for the good, she blew up children. You don't go back from blowing up children. I'm going to end the video here. This was supposed to be a short video, but I have very strong feelings about blowing up children. So, have a very wonderful, very, very nice day, everybody. And be sure to write in the comments what you guys think and what you guys want to do for the 50 subscriber special. Bye. Have a nice day, everyone.